shadows lurking, whispers in the hall, stories of the past, spirits rise and fall, feel the cold around you as the fear creeps in. Welcome to the spectral place, where the haunted live.
Welcome to another edition of the Paranormal News Hour. I'm your co-host, Tom Spitaleri, and tonight we are live from the James R. Ross Memorial Studios, the haunted James R. Ross Memorial Studios in beautiful haunted downtown Lawrence. And you see the set's a little different tonight. We're in the process of redoing the set over, and I was get some new stuff, but it's not in yet, and I get rid of some of the old stuff. So, in fact, I even went back to vintage Essex County shirt just for tonight's show. But we'll be back normal in January, Bill. December. We got one more show there. Yep, we're still in November. I'm losing track of my mind here.
Yeah. 2024.
2024, yeah. So, just want a quick, brief few things going on out there in the world. The Essex County Ghost Project has put trees up at the Buttonwoods Festival of Trees this year again. This is our 23rd year at the Buttonwoods. The Havel Buttonwoods Festival of Trees kicks off Friday night after Thanksgiving and runs through December 15th with days closed Monday and Tuesday. So pretty much for the next 2.5-3 weeks, we'll be at the Festival of Trees. So come on down, enjoy. The money all goes back to the Buttonwoods Museum. So I want to thank everybody that will come to that event. And have come in the past. I know a lot of our viewers do come to that event because they say, hey, I see you on TV, Tom. So we have that going on. We have some great stuff being planned for early next year, in through the end of the season next year, including another record-setting Halloween season. It's going to be a fun year. 2025 is on its way, and I'm very excited. We are also going to be doing a ghost hunt in early 2025 at a special location, and our viewers will get a first shot of a free ticket of that, and we'll announce that next month in December.
Yep.
So we're very excited about that. But what I do want to talk about tonight is it is the holiday season, as we know. Thanksgiving's a couple days away, and Christmas is about, what?
3 weeks?
3 weeks, 4 weeks. So probably when the 40 days to Christmas. We're not quite at the 12 days of Christmas yet. You know, we're not waiting for the partridge in the pear tree and 10 lords are leaping and 6 geese are laying and 5 golden rings. But we're getting there. Yeah. We're getting close.
Getting close.
But the holiday season for a lot of people are fun. We have a great time, laughs.
Well, for the majority of the people, it's
fun. For the majority of the time, it's great. But for some of us,
sad.
It's just not an easy time of year. I only lost my dad 6 years ago, and it's still tough. And some people just lost their dads or their moms or their loved ones yesterday, today, or even last month, or the beginning of the year. Doesn't matter. When you lose a loved one, it takes a while to get over it. So the best thing to do, though, and it helps people out this way, and you're helping the public out, set a plate at the dinner table for your loved one who can't make it. Set the plate up. Put the food on it and everything else. And then when you're done, go down to a local homeless shelter or just take a ride down the road.
Well, a lot of people postpone it.
Yeah, or people do postpone it. That's
for
the
next
thing.
year.
Yeah. But if you do want to do this, what I suggest some people do is put a dinner plate down on the table for that loved one or many loved ones, and fill it with food, and then wrap it up and take a ride down the street or find a homeless shelter and donate it in that person's name. At least you're helping somebody, you know. And yeah, it is the season of giving. 'Tis the season of giving. So that's one thing we can all do to help each other out. And we already got people watching on live TV, on live tonight. Thanks, Gary. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Hi, Allison from Connecticut, Hope all is well with you. So that's one thing you can do to help grieve a loss of a loved one, and make sure you keep their memory strong at the dinner table. Talk about all the good times you had. And yes, some people do postpone the holiday season, and that's strictly within your choice to do so, and that's how some people deal with it.
Right.
And that is another way of dealing with it.
Some people go out.
Some people will just go
Restaurant.
out to eat at a restaurant
Yep.
instead of and enjoy it that way. However you want to enjoy your holiday season. If you want to remember a loved one, just set an extra table spot for them and then donate the food to the local shelters. Because there would be some person on the street would be very in need of that food. So with that though, Bill, I want to get into tonight's subject. So we had a lot of people ask us through the year this year. We've done a lot of public events. We've done 32 events in 31 days in October. That's just the paranormal. We've done 60. Well, if we don't pick anything else up between now and the end of the year, it'll be 62 events between August 1st and December 31st. Over 150 events this year alone. This was a banner year for the Essex County Ghost Project. But people ask all the time. They like the EVP thing because you can listen to it. It's cool. But the most important thing they talk about, and what most people are concerned about, and what we concern ourselves about when we go to a house is, what is the EMF in the house? And how dangerous can an EMF be? For you people at home, an EMF is electric magnetic fields. So, Bill, with that, let's go through this pretty slow so people at home can understand this, because this is a type of science that's out there. It's been there for hundreds of years. It's got natural EMF. It's got, obviously, microwaves, refrigerators. Oh, and don't forget those big, beautiful power lines off of Route 213 locally, or Route 28 in Salem, New Hampshire.
You're fine as long as you don't live under it.
Right. Or near it. And they pretty much encroaching houses near some of those bigger power lines. So, I mean, anywhere in the world where you see those humongous blue things that reach out and go 50 feet up in the air.
I could take one of my fluorescent lights under there and light up.
Yeah.
Under the power line.
Right, without even touching anything.
Right.
So let's explain to the public, first of all, what electromagnetic fields are, what they are in the house, and what they can do to you. Okay, Bill, take it away.
Okay. Electromagnetic fields, since 1950, with the satellites and everything going up, we're bombarded by EMFs in the houses, factories, and all that. So you can have, if you got an EMF meter, you can check it. Anything over 0.8 is not good. Milligauss, 0.8 milligauss. I mean, we've been in houses that go over 100, 200, 300 milligauss. So
Yeah.
cause tumors. It can cause tumors in your brain. Leukemia can change your blood. The red, white blood cells can be changed by high EMFs. It's in the house or even if you're in a factory and if you're close to something, you're getting bombarded by it. You can't feel it, but it's affecting you. Maybe it takes a little while. It doesn't happen overnight, but it could happen 2-3 years. You have a brain tumor, okay? Now, we're not going to talk about the radio frequencies. We're also bombarded by RF, which is radio frequencies, for your Wi-Fi, your telephones especially, that you put near your ears. As it goes from billions of cycles per second to trillions, and you got your phone up, the best thing is not to hold it too long in your ear. If you got a mic, you can talk into it. Keep it away from your ear. If you're going to talk a long time, half an hour, whatever, it's better to keep the phone away from your ear and just talk through the mic that's in it. So
I mean, there have been articles in local newspapers all over New England and beyond where neighbors get concerned about these high rendition power lines too.
Well, that's what we do. We don't just go in and look for entities and stuff.
No.
We also look for stuff that's going to hurt you inside there with our different instruments that we have.
Yeah, well, like the house we did in Methuen, I can't say whose house it was, and I make sure you don't, and I know you wouldn't, Bill. But she was having all sorts of paranormal activity. There was some activity in the house, not as bad as claimed, because most of the issue was electric magnetics, and the master bedroom was right near the outside, the power box. Remember that house?
Oh, yeah. We had the bed moved away from the wall, and she was fine after.
Yes.
The bed was right against it, and it had all kinds of power meters on the other side of it.
Yeah, and we're not talking.
She's sleeping at night, and all that EMFs is going through the wall into her.
Right.
So.
And we're actually not talking anything of a house. It was a. It was
an apartment.
It was an apartment, but it was public housing
Yeah.
somewhere in New England. That's all I'm going to say. Somewhere in New England, a public housing unit. And if you know anything about structures, public housing units, and if you build a house, there are always some changes to the rules. So we're not talking a well-insulated, it's an older public housing unit from the 60s. So we're not talking great insulation, great windows or anything, and she's sleeping, literally, right underneath the main power line.
That's it.
I mean, that just is not a safe thing to do. It really isn't.
Well, over time, like I said, it can cause tumors and leukemia, hitting your white blood cells. Leukemia is white blood cells. So.
And that's one of the bigger issues we face. I mean, we go into a house. You never went out to Western Mass with me, right?
No, I didn't go.
Okay, I'll tell you this house again. It was public housing unit, veterans too living.
Now,
in
who was
there.
with you, Bob?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I forgot who else. We went out there so many times. I took so
Joe?
many.
Was Joe with you?
Joe might have went, yeah. But we went out there, and let me tell you, now, we all know about grounding electricity, right, Bill? We've seen
Right.
some interesting things in life. So, when I get to this house, the magnetic field, this is a brand new units, too. Magnetic fields are kind of high to begin with for the area. It is in a haunted location in Western Mass. I mean, the whole area, that area of Western Mass is loaded with spirits.
Right.
And so we dealt with that. But underneath the sink is a outlet.
What kind of outlet?
Like you plug a toaster in right underneath the sink. I've never seen that in my life.
Right.
I'm like, this is interesting.
It's gonna cause magnetic fields through the pipes in the water.
Yeah,
Right next to it.
exactly. And if you own a beautiful old home, I love Victorian homes, don't you, Bill?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
gorgeous. They look great. We need to preserve every one of those Victorian homes out there at all cost.
We've got a
And-
couple that are haunted, of course.
Yeah.
Down
Down all
south
over
of Boston.
south of Boston, and all over the place here in New England, even here in Lawrence. But if you go look at where their electrical wiring is grounded, where's their electrical wire grounded to? How many times have we seen this, Bill?
Well, it's usually a voltage regulator downstairs in the
Yeah.
cellar, and it's hooked up to a pipe instead of grounded to the ground.
Right, it's hooked up to your water pipe, your copper water
Electrician
pipe.
just put it around a copper pipe. He was lazy. He didn't want to ground it, so he just put a copper pipe.
And what happens, that electromagnetic field runs,
Electromagnetic fields all the way through the house, through the pipes.
and
All
that's
through the apartments, too,
yeah,
if you're in an apartment.
and that's called. What's that called again? The type of when the magnetic field runs around the whole house.
Well, it's electrified. You electrify the whole thing. When electricity runs, it causes a magnetic field around it. Whenever electricity runs, you're going to have a magnetic field. And if you have a magnetic field, you also can have electricity. If you have a magnetic field, and there's a wire here, it'll go through the wire and cause electricity to run through that wire. And cause an electromagnetic field, too. Both.
Right, and if the magnetic field's high enough, you're going to start seeing things, feeling things, or even worse.
Well, if it's high enough, you will see and hear things.
Yeah. And we've
Yeah.
been to many homes where
I can give you like a fan.
right.
There's one place they were saying they're seeing and hearing things. Team went in there, and they checked everything. The only thing they didn't check was the ceiling fan. They went in there, checked the ceiling fan, and the wire was threaded. So it was high EMFs coming out of that wire, affecting everybody up. When they went to the bathroom and stuff upstairs, it affected them all. So they see things, hear things. They replaced the fan, it was fine. Okay. Another incident, we went in another house, another team. They checked everything. The only thing they didn't check was in the middle was a fish tank. That's the last thing they checked. They went over there and checked it. They checked the motor. It was the motor. It was defective. Okay? It wasn't just causing high EMFs. It was causing infrasound. Infrasounds will make you see and hear things, too. So the people in this house with the fishbowl in the middle of the living room, they'll get bombarded by electromagnetic fields and high, actually low infrasound, which causes your brain to vibrate. Infrasound is like under 20 hertz. If you got under 20 hertz, you get infrasound. If you've ever been near a boom box and you get hit in the chest, you can feel that sound hitting you. That's infrasound. That's hitting you. Because you can't hear it, but you can feel it. Okay? And also with your cell towers. Now, cell towers give off EMF, but you have to be really close. But the RF, the radio frequencies, that's different. That can go away miles. It can go out. So if you live near a cell tower, you should be at least 600-700 feet away from that cell tower. All right? Because it's going to affect you, especially when you're at night, when you're sleeping, because you're there 8 hours or 9 hours, whatever. And you're going to get the RF through the walls because it goes right through it. So you don't want to be too close to a cell tower.
No.
And they're all around, too. They put them everywhere now.
That they do.
Yeah. Put them on buildings, put them on trees. So you can. The only way you can do that is change the electrical wires in the house if it's something wrong with it. Somebody, the electrician did a Mickey Mouse job in the place, and that cost thousands of dollars. So most people aren't going to do that. Or the landlord, if you live in an apartment, he's not going to change all the wiring. Okay, you can. There's some lead paint you can use. You can paint your walls lead, and then paint over them after. That will stop EMFs. Or you can use copper. You put copper on the wall. That's a little expensive. Copper's way up now.
Yeah, copper's.
Yeah, it used to be cheap. Now it's very expensive.
Right.
I mean, they're stealing. They're going houses ripping out pipes and stuff they made out of copper. The thieves, because they're worth a lot of money, copper. Today.
Yeah, copper's certainly not the cheap way out of that one.
Right.
So that's the first thing we check when we go to houses is the electric magnetic fields coming out of the sockets, the TV, the microwaves, the stoves, the gas stoves, and anything electronical in your house that you use on a regular basis, lights. And sometimes even the lights are wired wrong because they're the older lights. They're like, that was Grandma's favorite lantern, and when Grandma passed, she kept it in the family.
Insulation around it could peel off, crumble, and cause that too. And also, electricians have been known in the walls, instead of grounding it, they put like it was a nail stick, and I wrapped the wire around the nail.
Yeah.
Right, and that acts like a transformer, and that gives you high EMFs all the way through the wall out. Of course, you'd have to, in order to get it, you have to tear the wall down to get to the nail, to
Right.
get the wire off the nail.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
That's a little expensive, but yeah, you have to do it.
right. You got to do what you got to
Or
do.
just rip a hole. Doesn't have to be too big if you know where it is. Just rip it there, and you can, do that. Have an electrician ground it, and just fix the wall up again. You're all set. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. So, high EMF we take very seriously. You have to. It's too many things, going on there that we have to be careful about. And with that incident, with the EMF, I mean, we did a house. You weren't there, down in Wakefield, where I actually had to go get a digital meter because I always didn't use digital until probably a few years, 5.
Well, you should have both, analog
Right.
and digital.
But at the time, I had just had analog.
Analog. Okay.
And I went out and got a digital meter because it was spiking so high we weren't getting any readings. The 2 analog meters I had were pinned like this. And it's like, okay, we know it's high, but how high is it really?
Well, the tri-field only goes to 100. It only goes to 100. That's it. It doesn't go any further.
No, but
Milligauss, it goes to 100.
Right. But
All
the
right.
Mel meter.
Digitals will go 200, 300, 400.
Right. The Mel meter pinned it at $1.99 and higher in places.
All right. You mean the Mel meter?
The Mel meter, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and that's very high for electric magnetic fields.
No, that's bad to stay on. If you're too long staying in that, yes.
Yeah, that causes major problems.
It's not on how high it is, it's how long you stay
Right.
getting affected by the
And this was the whole apartment.
electromagnetic fields.
Right. And this was the whole apartment.
Yeah, it was all contaminated.
It was all contaminated. Anywhere between $1.25 and $1.99.
Well, you can
Consistently.
also have negative milligauss
Yeah.
too. Okay. Now
So what is
the
negative
analogs
milli-
the analogs will not measure negative
Mm-hmm.
milligauss. In other words, it's positive and negative. All right. The analog will measure the negative. It'll go negative. Give you a negative sign and then the milligauss, how much it is. But the analog will not do that. So that's why you got to have both.
It's very important to have both because you really need to get accurate readings, especially if it's that high, because you need to get convinced that the client needed to move.
I got like
Get
3 or
an
4
electrician in.
digital and 2 or 3 analog type. Yeah, the 1, 2, 3. I got 3 of those. 3 analog. All the rest are digital. Makes it good.
Yeah, no, it makes it good because then we can get accurate readings of what's out there.
Well, the most accurate, of course, is the tri-field. That's the most accurate that's out there. It doesn't just, it also measures electrical fields, microwaves, stuff like that. So it doesn't just measure EMFs.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a dial on it so you can turn it to wherever you want to check. Electrical fields, microwaves, you can change it. Or just EMFs. But, of course, you have to go around the room on EMF and then switch it to electrical fields, go around the room and check it. See where it's coming from. It could be coming from the floor, maybe the ceiling, too. There's no way to... It depends on how high the ceiling is.
Right.
So you're not going to reach, if it's 8 feet, you're not going to be able to reach the ceiling. So,
No, you're not.
unless, of course, if you put it on a stick and put a rope around it or something, and then put it to the ceiling. But other than that, you can't check it. So,
No, you're right about that.
yeah.
And if it is that high, you need to get out of the house. Safety first.
Well, you can contact somebody on the internet for that to help you.
Mm-hmm.
We just tell you about it, but there are people that will help you. Of course, you got to pay. That's the only problem.
Right.
You don't have to pay us to find out.
No.
But if you want somebody to come in and do away with it, it's going to cost you some money. So just beware of that.
Exactly.
Either that or you move out. Simple.
Yeah.
If you live in an apartment, move out of there. If somebody checks it and says you got IEMFs, The landlord's not going to change anything because it's too expensive.
No, he won't. They're not
So,
going to change
You
anything.
just move to the next apartment somewhere else out of that place.
Yeah, safety first.
Yeah.
Remember
Like
that.
the people in Haverhill, they moved, the mother and the son, they moved out.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost off the charts. It was like 200 or 300 in that house. It was bad.
Yeah, things can get real tough, real tight.
Yeah, and that's not just in one spot. It was the whole place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
IMFs.
Right. Usually when we go into a kitchen, the plugs, the microwave, the refrigerator, and if you have an
You're going to
electric
get high
stove,
EMFs
you're
on
gonna
those, but
and the microwave, forget about it.
that you have to be close. Once you get in the middle of the kitchen or whatever, the EMFs drop. But you're not going to put your head right next to the refrigerator or the microwave anyways.
No.
So, but best not to stand near a microwave. Once you put it on, stay like 5-6 feet away. It's
Well,
not
that
good to
makes
be close.
sense.
So it's going to hit you in the eyes too. If you
Right.
stay watching through the glass, stay away from the microwave.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's
Definitely
very
stay
dangerous.
away from microwave.
Oh yeah. If you're gonna, heat something up, just put it on and walk away. Wait till it stops and then open it up.
Right, when
Yes.
it's safe.
Safety. You got to have safety with it.
Mm-hmm. Anytime you're dealing with electromagnetic fields, and we see this in homes all the time, old wiring is another major issue.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't. You could be a paranormal investigator. You can be the food delivery guy. You could be a firefighter or a police officer. Electric magnetic fields don't care who you are or what title you have.
Now, the bad part about it is you can't feel it.
Right. So that you could actually.
You got it from satellites, you name it, cell towers, and you got all this electromagnetic fields, right?
And that's what makes this whole world interesting, and the field is interesting.
It depends on how much is vibrating, or I should say the wavelength. The wavelength is what makes something different. Microwaves are shorter.
Yeah.
RF is a little longer, the waves. So depends on the wavelength.
Well, that is true. It does depend upon the wavelength. The wavelength can be dangerously high or dangerously low at that point.
Well, that's why we got different types.
Yeah.
We got EMFs, we got microwaves,
So,
electrical fields.
right. So what are microwavable fields, and what are safe ranges for that?
Well, it depends on the, on the microwave,
Yeah.
you know.
All right.
You have to check it with a meter
Yeah.
and see. You have to look at the specifications on there. When you get the microwave, it tells you how much it should be coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got a meter, you can measure it.
Right.
And if it's over that, it means something's wrong with your microwave or shouldn't be that high.
Correct. And then we got radio frequencies that pollute our spaces too.
Well, mostly that's what you're going to really get is the RFs because all the cell towers, satellites, they're bombarding us with all kinds of radiation.
So
Yeah,
RF is radio frequency.
right.
And we are constantly bombarded with radio frequency.
Now the radio frequencies, it depends on how fast it's vibrating. The hertz, 200 cycles a second, a million cycles a second. I went from a million to a billion, and now we're going to a trillion. Trillion cycles a second. And how fast that's going? To do a trillion cycles a second. They found out that if you got microwaves RF that vibrates at 60 billion cycles a second, it can make your blood cells not have oxygen. Person will pass out and fall down if they shot the RF right at them. It takes the oxygen out of your red blood cells at 60 billion cycles a second.
Oh, wow. So that's something you don't want to play with.
No, of course the person's going to either pass out or die, one or the other. Because if you don't have any oxygen, you're going to suffocate. So
Yeah, because the body can only take so much.
that's it.
Then it's time to give it the old breakaroo.
Mm-hmm.
So with this information that we put out tonight, if you guys have any questions at all regarding this subject, or you think your house has got high EMF, Essex County Ghost Project will come out and help you out. We'll even look at the electrician. We are not plumbers. We are not electricians. But if our meters are picking up high electromagnetic fields, then you can make a
You
decision.
can hire an electrician to come in.
Right. Then you can make a decision who you want to do the work. So you can maintain that house, because you might not want to leave that house. Especially if you get some great memories of grandma, mom, dad, and a few other
Right.
things.
That's right.
You know, we don't want you to be put in that position.
Mm-hmm.
So the best way to do that is by protecting ourselves with different types of methods, stones, and shielding that type of energy from hitting us, period.
Well, like I said, the shielding is copper, but
yeah.
that's the best shielding.
Mm-hmm. So now we got radio frequency,
Electrical fields,
electrical fields.
high electrical fields can affect you.
Yeah.
Over 50 volts.
Oof.
If you got over 50 volts and you're close to it, you're not supposed to be close to it. A lot of stuff give off 50 volts and up. So my meter will detect. It's set at 50 volts. It flashes and it makes a sound if it's over 50 volts.
And that's high.
And that's when it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a new device that warns you the same thing when the EMFs go up that high, it warns you.
Yeah.
It says danger, danger, danger.
There's a flash and make a sound.
Yeah, it's real interesting. I mean, but it's just something that helps us help you. And that's what this is all about. Understanding our tools
Yeah.
so we can use the tools to help you, the client.
Right. We can check your electrical boxes and check those out and see if they're working right.
Oh, remember that case we did up in Mount Washington, broad daylight?
Yeah.
I got a soft breaker. Well, you never said that. She goes, yeah, I forgot, but I found the problem. So when we tried to get the breaker button out, we couldn't.
Well, it was a voltage fuses.
Right.
One of them was over 180, supposed to be around 120. There was it was 3 and 3. It was 6.
Yeah.
One of them was bad. The other one was all right. They're 120. This one was 180. They put the wrong fuse in. That's what happened. And the flare picked it up. So all you have to do is take that fuse out, put another one that's supposed to be in there.
And go
That's
from
fine.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It'll probably eventually burn the house down if I didn't find it.
Right.
Who knows, you know?
Yeah, that was that house up in Mount Washington
Yeah.
in Havel.
Yeah.
I mean, we saved the house fire for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think the temperatures were $1 or $2 coming off of that breaker.
It's a lot.
And breaker, that is hot.
It was glowing white, not just red.
Right. Exactly. And that's what makes that unsafe.
Are we going to have that thing in Providence this year or not? No.
I don't know yet. I'm still working on the Parafest for Providence.
Parafest, yeah.
Parafest in general. So I think we've beaten the living daylights out of electromagnetic fields tonight. That's for sure. We still got some time left.
Yeah, Father Bob, he had a case in Manchester. You
Yeah,
know about it?
I
Did you
saw
see
that. Yeah,
with James Anito.
yeah.
They both went there.
So, yeah, we've beaten that to the helm at this point. So, Bill, got to ask you, what is your favorite piece of equipment that you have? Explain to our great listeners.
The favorite, well, that's hard to say. Because you
need them all.
you need a voice recorder.
Right.
That's one thing. All right? Anybody can get a voice recorder, a digital voice recorder. Now, I use a dynamic microphone. That's the best you can get. It's a dynamic
Correct.
microphone for it. After that, of course, is the meter. For EMFs, nothing beats a tri-field.
No.
And, of course, that's AC. Now, I have another tri-field that does DC. DC's natural, like lightning, stuff like that. All right, AC is just in the wall. Electrical current, all right? Alternating current is in the wall. That's man-made, okay? That's what the regular tri-field measures. There's electrical alternating current coming out that causes electromagnetic fields in the air. All right. The DC, direct current, of course, is different. That's natural. You find that in lightning. Okay. You can find that in waterfalls. Water falling off a cliff or whatever, that will cause a DC current too. So that'll measure it. Earthquakes causes DC current, which causes magnetic fields too. So that will check for earthquakes on it. Mm-hmm. So that's why I got that one, to check that. Okay? Now, those go for like $200 or $300. If you want the best, of course, you can go to the magnometer. Magnometer costs $2,000. And usually a professional uses a magnometer. Okay?
That is true.
You look at almost all the teams, they don't have a magnometer. They have the tri-field,
right.
A millimeter or something less than that. But they don't have the magnometer.
No, because that's a little bit more complicated.
Well, that's more accurate
Yeah.
than anything else, but it costs you $2,000 to have it. Unless you're going to do a lot of houses, William Rowe, who was a parapsychologist, he uses the magnometer.
Mm-hmm.
He had one. Of course, he had a PhD in parapsychology. And he was the expert on poltergeists. He wrote the book, which I have, on
right.
poltergeists. The only thing I didn't like about the book is he just said it was an agent. He doesn't understand it could be an agent or it could be an entity that's causing the problem.
Right.
Not just an agent. Usually he said it was an adolescent girl, 8 to 10 years old, and she was frustrated and she caused all the... Sometimes they know that what they're doing and sometimes they don't. Causing things fly around the room, things fall off the wall, and the little girl's caught. The only way you could find out is take that girl, take her out of the equation, let her stay somewhere for a couple of days. Nothing happens, then it's her. But when she's gone and stuff still happens, it's not her. It's an entity causing the problem. And usually that poltergeist wants to get you out of the house. That's their goal, to scare you out of your wits. Throw things around. They start off slow, like banging on the wall, tapping on it. Get louder. Then they start slamming the doors, having windows go up and down, slamming. And then they start throwing things. Then the person runs out of the house.
Yes.
Now the poltergeist is happy.
Yes. And it's got control of you.
And they think it's dynamic. It's not dynamic. It's a poltergeist causing it.
which is a
Okay.
little different than demonic.
But they still can hurt you when they throw things around, you know, plates, knives, whatever, flying through the air. So
Right.
even though they're not demonic, they still can hurt you. But
That
that's
is
the goal, is to get you out of the house. Once they reach that goal, they're happy. Usually the person that doesn't go back either after that happens. You know?
No, it
I
doesn't.
mean, as you studied before, some poltergeists can start fires. Some make water come out of the air. How do they do that? Because in the fourth dimension, it's the only way you can do it. You look at it right in the center of the room, and all of a sudden water comes pouring out. How can you do that? It has to be the fourth dimension.
Correct, and that's what happened with the Martin
Okay.
House in Methuen, which we can talk about tonight
Okay.
a little bit. 1963, this time of year, they got a call. We got a call to go to this house. There was water everywhere,
Coming out right out of the air.
coming out of the couch, the wall, you name it. The police and fire were called in. They didn't know what to do.
No.
So, but this is an interesting case because as fast as it made the local newspaper, it died. So this farmhouse was located, it's now been torn down, up off of House Street on the Haverhill line in Methuen, now that end.
So what is just
An old tree farm.
it's all
An
ground
old
now, no
farmhouse.
house there?
No, they got a, I believe it's a 55 and older community. No, they got a development in there now.
Oh, okay.
And what happened was they were home one night, Mr. and Mrs. Martin, watching TV, enjoying their evening.
How about the children? They had children?
Nothing said about kids.
Nothing. Okay.
And all of a sudden, water started spouting from everywhere. And it went on for like 2 hours, but in 20-second intervals. It would stop, then go back. And they didn't know what was causing it. The city fire marshal didn't know. The building inspector didn't know. The electrical, the plumbing. There were no broken pipes. There was no water pipes broken, a city water pipe. Nothing.
Nothing.
So they left the house for 2 nights and he moved to his sister-in-law's house. Right here on Andover Street in beautiful Lawrence.
Okay. What
South
happened
Lawrence. It continued.
then? Followed them.
Followed them.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, within 4 days, it was gone.
It's gone.
The family said it was done. They didn't know what happened. It
Can
was
last-
over and
Yeah,
done with.
poltergeists can last days, weeks, years.
But it never happened again. To my knowledge.
That's what happens. Lasts a year, disappears, never comes back.
It was interesting because all of a sudden it went from a front page story to, we got no more problems.
That's it.
It's all done. So that was an interesting case of, and I grew up reading that in the newspaper every Halloween. That was one of the Halloween haunted houses they put in. I just find it interesting at how fast this thing was.
Well, quantum mechanics can tell you how it happens, okay? But they can't tell you why. Now,
Right.
if you want to know why, you go to a shaman. The shaman knows why. Why this place is haunted and this one isn't. They know why. Of course,
Right.
they don't come out and tell you, but they themselves, they know why this place is haunted, this one over here isn't.
Right.
And that's why a lot of skeptics say, well, every house should be haunted, not just one. That's why I don't believe it. Because every house should be haunted.
Right.
So that's what the skeptic says. But like I said, the shaman knows why that place is haunted and this other place next door isn't. Or why some place is not haunted. Actually, it's the people that are haunted. Something following them wherever they go. They go to the next place and things start happening. So whatever was in that house followed them, and it's not in the house anymore, it's with them. Or it's the land. The land could be haunted.
Yeah, land is another issue.
And if the land's haunted, You're going to have a tough time getting rid of it.
Yes, and a
on
lot
the
of the
land.
times you go to a house, it's the land that's haunted. And haunted land, get into that for a few minutes. Haunted land. So how's that happen? Well, there's many reasons how that can happen.
Could be a curse on the
Could
land.
be a curse. Now, let me explain some curses because they're not all curses. There could be. So they always say, don't desecrate Native American burial grounds. It's cursed land. It is cursed. But it's not cursed to the definition that we would use. So, what do I mean by cursed land? So, in northern Maine, there were the red ochre people, red paint people. They were Native Americans, okay? Natives were always buried with their jewelry, and this goes back to the Egyptians.
People
You know,
won't
the
steal it.
big crypt, the big, you know,
People desecrate
they
it.
desecrate it,
Want to take the
steal it.
jewelry and stuff.
So what they did was they didn't put a curse per se. The red ochre people used red ochre poisoning that they created. Now, how does red ochre poisoning work? Well,
You touch it.
some of it you touch, you die. But some of it, if you breathe it in, can cause cancer and other things, like what happened to the people who found King Tut's tomb.
Yeah, when
The
they
curse of King Tut.
When they opened it, the germs, the bacteria, whatever's in there,
Right.
come out, and they infected everybody that was there.
So
they
that
start dying every year or whatever, 6 months. People started dying.
right,
And
and
near the tomb.
they came up with the curse. That's the same thing when you dig into Native American burial grounds, and I don't care if it's in Maine, North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma, Texas. These Native people buried their loved ones. Remember that. Just like we bury our loved ones, these Native American people buried their loved ones to protect them from being dug up and exploited. They created a poison of sorts. So when you dig into the ground and you rip up that soil, that dust is flying, everything's flying. It gets into your nose, causes brain cancers, tumors, this, that, and the other thing, and then, people died because they dug on native land. It's cursed. It's not cursed. It was protected with ancient methods. Just like in Egypt and the Great Pyramids, that they were protected. Those pharaohs were protected by something. It's out of our science. That's why they call it a curse.
Now listen to this. All right. Edgar Casey said near the Sphinx, down below, 30 feet under the sand, there was a door. Nobody believed him. Because they couldn't check it until they got the radar, maybe 10, 15 years ago or something. When they got the radar, they could go down 100 feet. They checked it, and they found the door 30 feet under the sand. So they had somebody come in and, of course, dig down there. And then they opened, I don't know what they found in the tomb that was down there. But they opened the door and they went inside. So Edgar Casey was correct that there was, the psychic, Edgar Casey.
Yeah.
He was correct saying that was there. So now what he did was astral projection. All right, he can make his mind travel anywhere. Not his body, his mind went out of his body and traveled anywhere in the world. So he went in a trance, had his mind go to Egypt, into the Sphinx, under the ground, and saw the door down there. That's why he knew it. It was there. Now, he was correct. He's the only psychic, 89% of the time he was right. No other psychic comes close to Edgar Casey.
No.
Most are 60, 65% right. Nobody's 89% like he was. So I follow Edgar Casey. Okay. Of course, and a lot of people go to Virginia that are interested in the paranormal stuff. They go down there and look at all his writings. He got thousands of writings down there that you can read about. his psychic abilities and all that stuff that he did.
So, I mean, that's another thing that we need to, go delving into. And when you're watching these things and investigating stuff, you have to know pretty much where you're going and what's going on with.
Well, look at Zach Bagans. He has a mask now. He got infected going to these places.
Yeah, because some of the places he went into had
All kinds of dust.
mold, dust,
everything. Name it.
yeah,
Yeah, you can get injured. You got to watch out.
it's not always the ghost.
No. You can get injured.
Could be just about anything.
You can go somewhere and fall through the floor, especially in the dark. Just got to watch out.
I won't say where I was because I was trying to raise money for this place, but
Well, you fell through the floor?
I was in the attic,
Mm-hmm.
and the floorboard gave away in the attic. But luckily, I was able to move. So, yeah, the board went down to the basement, the little
Got out of the
board,
way.
but
Jumped out of the way.
I got out of the way.
Oh, you're lucky.
But it doesn't matter. You can get hurt almost any place you go.
So don't think that this is fun and games.
No.
It can be dangerous, too. So
Yeah,
people have been injured and killed.
correct. I mean, but especially if you're in an old house. Out in the cemetery where you don't have permission to be. If you have permission, it's a different story. But if you don't have permission to be, something can happen. I mean, you have to be real careful when you're out there. Real careful.
Especially, you should check it before you go in at night. If you check it at night, you'll know where everything is. So you're not just going in there and, exploring. If you go during the day, check a few things before you go at night. Go inside. So that's much safer than just going in, not knowing anything, where everything is.
Right.
You might see the floor bent in or something, so you know you're not going to step over that way. So
Right, and
it's hard to see at night.
me doing the preservation stuff I've done most of my life. I've been in old beat up homes and stuff, and you usually go in, the first time you want to go in is during the day, especially it has no electricity.
Right.
Yeah,
Especially
don't
on
go
the
find
first-
that haunted house out in the woods that burned 30 years ago, and it's still standing. You want to go looking for ghosts. I would say don't go.
Well, paranormal activity.
Yeah.
You're looking for paranormal activity.
Yeah,
Don't
go. I would be real leery of that thing collapsing in on me. But if you're going to go, I guess it would be smarter to go check out during the daytime and see.
Most
If it's
likely,
even safe.
Yeah, most likely you're going to get EVPs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't have to worry about electromagnetic fields in those places because there's usually
Yeah, there's no
none.
electricity.
No electricity.
I expect anything in there.
If you did hit something with a meter, you know you got something.
Well, it's, most likely,
Most likely, yeah.
it's most likely a portal that opened up in there, because you get EMFs and stuff, gamma rays, everything coming out of that portal. So it will register on your meters, even though there's no electricity in there.
No, it wouldn't register on them at all.
And it's been documented that one of the girls on the team, she got a brain tumor from a portal opening up. It affected her brain. She died of the tumor.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that's another hazard there.
Yeah. And you're going to have portals open up anywhere in a private home, in a public building,
Well,
in a
usually,
cemetery.
yeah, usually in a portal in the cemetery, like Marcy, usually the portal moves. It's not station, moves. In the building or a house or whatever, it moves from room to room. It doesn't stationary. There are portals out in forests and stuff that stay in one spot. Okay, like Arizona. The shamans will tell you not to walk in a certain area because there's a portal. It opens up. It closes eventually, but then it opens up again.
Right.
But it stays in one area and doesn't move. And they tell you if you go into that portal, you're gone, of course. You're in the portal, you disappear. So nobody knows what happened to you.
No,
I-
we don't.
Best thing to do is listen to the shaman. When he tells you not to go in something, don't do it.
Right, that's always the best thing.
Listen to the shaman.
Yeah. And go from there. So we've done that. We've talked about that. We've talked about that.
And now, did we talk about the? Is Bob going to get in touch with Trey? Trey Hudson.
Yeah, we're working on that next.
Okay.
Um,
He's an excellent. You can see him on the internet, Trey Hudson. Go to YouTube, and he talks about the Metal Project and all that.
yeah, Trey Hudson is an author that wrote about the Metal Project, so we're working.
He found something where he's not going to give the location, but it's sort of like Skinwalker Ranch, Blind Frog Ranch. It's all in Utah. And there's a couple others. There's one in Colorado. There's one in Las Vegas. Other ranches just like those that have high paranormal activity.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, we have stuff around here called the Bridgewater Triangle. We have the Ossipee Triangle. We have the one up in Vermont. We have all these triangles.
What is that, Barrington?
Barrington.
Barrington Triangle.
The Bridgewater, you got Ossipee, you got Barrington. You got just in this area. Then if you go look at those that area closely, you're going to find there's other triangles like the Salem-Wyndham-Derry Triangle, the Sandown Triangle that I actually coined, both of those last two. You're going to find these flap areas that are going to have...
Trey was looking for something else.
Right, and
he heard about this place on the road that was supposed to be haunted. And he had a team there, and he had another team at base camp.
Yeah.
And they told him that UFO, stuff like that happening there. He said, let's get out of here. Let's go back to like half a mile away. So they went back to camp, and they started doing everything there. It was more interesting than the road, So that's why he did that. He ran into that accidentally. He wasn't looking for it, but the team found it.
Well, that's what happens in the paranormal, or UFO, or Bigfoot, or cryptid. It doesn't matter.
And he says all over the United States is places just like the Metal Project.
Right, you're going to trip over
paranormal activity going on.
Right, you're going to trip over these paranormal locations.
Of course, the government knows about a lot of these too.
Right, but they don't want to discuss it.
And what they want to do is develop as a weapon. That's why they're interested. Not because they want to help the paranormal. They just want to develop weapons out of it. So, destroy other countries or whatever with it. So,
right.
That's why they're interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to look at the way we look at things.
Yeah, they don't want to progress.
No.
They just want to get there. What is it? What kind of energy is it? Can we harness it and use it for a weapon? That's what they're interested in.
Right, and that's all they're interested in.
Yeah.
And that'll be for another show.
Yeah.
Harnessing
weapons.
That'll be a great show.
Direct energy weapons.
Yes. So, well, with that, I mean, we're winding down.
We're dying down, yes.
Yeah, that we are.
Yeah.
I want to thank people tonight for tuning in. Next month's show will be a very exciting show. And they're all exciting. This time of year, it's just very difficult to keep pulling events after events after events. But we keep doing it. We're out there. The Essex County Ghost Project. We're real easy to find on Facebook, on the World Wide Web. Do me a favor, though. If you caught the end of this show live and you want to watch it again, hey George, thanks for tuning in. Mike, Pam, Chris, Cheryl, Allison. Thank you all for tuning in. If you ever want to catch these shows, go to Lawrence Community Access TV's YouTube page. They usually put up pretty much right after the show. Tonight they'll be dropping to the new episode of the Paranormal Zone that me and my friend Bob McDermott do. Bill's been on that before, and he's filled in a couple times for Bob. And this show, the Paranormal News Hour. And check out our old shows. Give it a like and a save and say, hey, we love your show. So we can keep bringing in other people. I'm going to change the format of this show again a little bit, but it's going to continue once a month. Might even go further than that. Don't know yet. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. It was a great night. Thank you, Bill. I want to thank Josh behind the scenes over there.
Josh.
Because without Josh, shows don't. And Kevin, who worked tirelessly to get this live show working tonight. So I thank Kevin and everybody
Where is
else.
Kevin? I didn't see
Kevin's home for his shift's over. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I want you to enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy the rest of your days. Enjoy Christmas. And we'll see you actually right after Christmas.
Right after Christmas?
Yep, right after Christmas week, Christmas and New Year's. We will be back on talking about ghost hunts and spooks. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Good night. This is the Crypt Keeper and the Tech Manager signing off.
Good night, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
In shadows lurking, whispers in the hall, stories of the past, spirits rise and fall. Feel the cold around you as the fear creeps